Hey, I wanted to do another video review. This time I'm going to do the Masterpiece Sideswipe. This one is for my little mushroom buddy out there, so I hope you enjoy it, and I hope this is useful to you. Uh, Masterpiece Sideswipe is a fantastic toy. Just to kind of give you a little bit of history if you don't know, as far as Masterpiece figures, they, in general, very large transformers, and that was great. But they seemed a little out of scale with each other because you'd have the Masterpiece Hot Rod was the one who really kind of showed that that issue the best, because as a car he was so he looked so large compared to someone like Optimus Prime or Grimlock. So they decided to do a Masterpiece figure that was kind of in scale with the truck mode of Optimus Prime. And the first one to get that treatment was Sideswipe. Now, despite his smaller size, still definitely a masterpiece, and kind of all the great things that kind of go along with that. So, looking at him, I mean, he is just a spitting image of the G1 Sideswipe, at least how I feel that he should have looked. Um, Not so much from the cartoon. I know the masterpieces have definitely gotten more cartoon accurate. I actually like this kind of, uh, the timeline that this came out of, where they're kind of striking a really nice balance between the original toys and the cartoon. So with like him and Prowl and when Soundwave came out, and the MP10 Optimus Prime, those are definitely some of my favorites. Now they're getting a little more simplistic looking to match the cartoon, which is fine, but I do really love the way these look. Now he, like many of the side swipes, had an issue with kind of a loose fitting gun. It's very wobbly. The peg that they use in the hand. Let's see if we can get that. It's basically right there. Just a little bit too loose for the tab that goes into his hand. I think later releases, corrected this, made it a little bit nicer, but I know I've heard a lot of people who've had a similar issue. As far as accessories, he had a big cannon on his shoulder like the original. He also, I know I didn't show this off in the first video of Bumblebee, but you get the instructions and a collector's card and stuff. And then he also comes with a pair of these pile drivers that can fit on his arms. I think it was in one episode of the original series. I appreciate that they've been putting stuff like this in there with just about all the masterpieces. It's not something I really ever use. It's not something I really would ever display him with. But these are pretty easy to utilize and attach. You just fold it in his hand like you're transforming him back to car mode. And these just clip right on to the end of his arm. And they stay nice and tight as this falls off. So if you want to reenact that one scene from the original cartoon, you're welcome to do so. But for the most part, this is the longest I've had these things out since I bought this. So not something that I do, but the option is there. And some of the extra accessories I do feel are a little bit neater than just these. But he has great articulation, like all the masterpieces. There's ankle tilts and waist swivels, thigh swivels, his wrist swivel. Just just what you expect from masterpieces. His head is on a ball joint, so he can look up. A slight amount. Actually, Actually, no, it's just on a double hinge, so it wasn't a ball joint, but there's two hinges there, so he can look up and down. And his gun can raise and lower slightly. But he really was a great first attempt, first kind of showpiece for what they could do at a slightly smaller scale, because the masterpieces have always been really fantastic and just incredibly faithful reimaginings of original figures. So they did a great job with him. As far as his transformation, it's pretty ingenious. Basically, what you'd expect from a masterpiece. And you can kind of do it in two halves. So you can do like basically the front end of the car and then the back end of the car. But you want to start off with splitting his head. The top part can rotate back, and you want to take his arms, rotate them up, kind of like he's surrendering. Open the back and put his hands in on both sides. Close them back up. Then you're going to rotate basically the back of the arm so it's facing inward, and then it's two joints here, and you just kind of compress it down, and there's a tab right here, this white tab that goes into the hole right there. And just do that on both sides, like so. And you're just going to slide this whole thing. There's a whole piece of the door on the inside here that folds down. We're going to do that on this side as well. You don't have to fold it all the way down yet, but you're going to take the actual hood of the car, flip that up, take the roof of the car, and this just kind of pulls outward. Okay, so it's here, just kind of pull it outward, and you can see the windows, the door windows. These will unfold and attach on both sides. Everything compresses really nicely so that from the back, or from looking at them from front on, you wouldn't see this big kind of squarish piece. It compresses to kind of streamline with the rest of his body. But up here, then we're going to continue just bringing this front end up. So it'll be like that. The wheels fold in underneath. And at his midsection, you want to unfold this whole thing. Okay, so it compresses. Let's see if I can get that look. You can see that a little bit better. It compresses like. Let's try to get this out of there. Like that in robot mode. So you just fold it straight out. Okay. Then down here, so we'll kind of leave this be for the moment, and we'll be able to kind of mass shift everything in vehicle mode. Let's focus on his legs. With his feet, you just fold this heel part right up into the front part of the foot, and you can point his toes straight down. Take this and just fold it downward, and then you're going to disconnect this front section from the rest of the leg. And there is a tab right there that fits into a hole right there. Okay, whenever you're going back to robot mode. But you're going to just lift that up. This panel just folds right in. And you're going to take this whole section can rotate. Okay, so we want to make sure that the spoiler part doesn't get caught. But we want this to just fold straight up, because this is going to be the underside of the car, and there's some nice car detailing which we can take a look at. But then, as far as the back of the leg, this is going to fold up, but then you want this part to fold backwards, and this part in the very back, you just kind of fold that up so it forms the tail lights of the car. and just lift that up. This foot goes underneath, and there is actually a little tab right here that will go right into the center slot right there. And so it doesn't hold super secure, at least not on this version, but it will fit there. The only other thing you want to make sure you do is this part actually folds up. I'm not showing that very well. It folds up like that, and I'll show you on the other side as well. The whole thing, then just make sure everything kind of lines up real nice. Make sure the hind end. Okay, now we're going to do basically the same thing on this side. So just get this down out of the way, disconnect that, this comes up, fold the panel in, and this just gets folded up onto the front of the leg, and you go to this side, make sure the spoiler gets out of the way, and you can actually fold this before you flip the whole thing up. So basically this part just gets folded back like that. Okay, and as this foot part gets folded up and goes underneath the roof, you just fold this part straight back to become the hind end of the car. Just going to, there's several clips where these things attach. You can kind of see where all of them are. They'll just get squeezed together. There we go. You just want to make sure that these are kind of fitting where they're supposed to up here. They don't fit super tight, but it's enough. You know when they're there, when they're in there. And then these just fold down, and this side just folds right on top of that one. Form the spoiler like that, and then you're going to bring the roof of the car down. Make sure these are getting closer to folding all the way in. And I like to just put these underneath the front end of the car first, because otherwise they just become a little bit tough to squeeze underneath that. Whole thing comes together. Need to make sure that these get squeezed past that. Okay, and then your arm pieces that are the doors, they just fold straight in on either side, like so, and you take the wheels and they just snap right into place. And just taking, oh, there is something I forgot to do. Okay, underneath where the leg parts are, and if you open those back up, the crotch piece actually is supposed to fold up. Okay, and then these fold back down. And that, again, just gives a little more detailing to make it look like just the underside of a car. So, you know, looking at it from underneath, there is a lot of detail, you know, other than these, you know, slight pieces that you can kind of see maybe it's something. I don't think you'd even be able to tell that there's a robot in here, which is pretty impressive. But his Lamborghini mode, dead on. The Lamborghini Countach, which he was originally modeled after, you know, a red sports car, working, you know, can't go wrong with that. But really nice detailing all around. You know, it rolls okay. Again, I've heard that the later releases did a little bit better with just clearance issues around the wheels. If you really need to, you can weaponize him. The gun handle can slide into this hole in the side of the cannon, and then that post can fit right in the top of the car if you must, for whatever reason. I always think these weaponized vehicle modes are totally dumb, but some people like to do that. So but I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope this helps. The Masterpiece Sideswipe, which is just overall phenomenal toy. I will get into some that aren't masterpieces here soon, but I wanted to make sure that I got this one out for my fan who really wanted to see it. So take care. Thanks a lot.